This kind of device can help you to reduce some stressors and later you can go to sleep faster, because if you're in a stress state, you will not fall asleep.
Anxiety is on the rise. It seems like everyone is now on medication for anxiety. Have you guys done any research for this? What is the difference between burnout and stress?
We push our body into relaxation state. So we push our body from fight or flight to rest and digest mode.
I think a lot of people will snack at night and not realize how much it's impacting your sleep. Welcome to another episode of the BiohackerBlondie Podcast. I'm really excited because we are with the CEO and co-founder of Pulsetto, which I'm wearing now for the podcast, but I do like it in the morning. So we're going to get all into vagus nerve stimulation and how this device works, because a lot of people are probably skeptical of a device and does it really help with sleep or pain or burnout or stress. So let's get into it. I'm so excited. If you can give a brief introduction and what was your inspiration behind Pulsetto?
Hi, everyone. I'm Povilas from Pulsetto, as Jenny mentioned. So I'm from Lithuania, so it's a second part of the day. But how it all started, so I previously worked with implantable devices. So vagus nerve stimulation, deep brain stimulators, spinal cord stimulators. So I am, let's say, biomedical, or in my country, biomechanical engineer by trade. So I worked in this field for quite a long time. And basically one thing happened, which was a little bit, let's say, sad on my side, that my father became quite ill. And I was trying to find a solution to help him. Due to that, we did all the tests which were, let's say, on the market. So blood work, scans for heart, and he was degrading over time. So I had good connections with neurologists, neuroscientists, and we could not find anything. And one thing came to another from literature that vagus nerve stimulation might help. So being an engineer myself, I tried to build one, let's say, external device, because I could not find any device on the market which I can bring to Lithuania and try on him, because implantable was not an option. Due to that, implantable is for drug-resistant epilepsy or drug-resistant depression. So I wanted to create it, but my father passed away. But, the idea basically stayed. I pushed it into, let's say, in a backlog, but COVID came. And I met my co-founder, Vitalius, whose wife is suffering from cluster headaches. And one of the indications of vagus nerve stimulation is cluster headaches. So we met online a couple of times, brainstormed some ideas, and, we said, okay, maybe his wife is the best candidate to try it on her. So we tried it.
Guinea pig.
Yeah, we tried it. It worked. Basically, the easy part was finished. We understood that we have something, but building hardware device, it's quite a long journey. So, it was an interesting time. Due to that, after COVID, we tried to raise funding for this end of a device, but hardware is hard, and not a lot of companies came to, let's say, funding us. But yeah, we found one company, later started on basically Indiegogo campaign, and the rest is history. Basically, we launched it after 2 years basically of development, and it seems that it was very needed on the market, and basically 3 years in a row we're growing very fast with our device.
Wow.
So the mission is from internal topics. Yeah.
What was your dad going through?
I still do not know, actually. We did later when he died, autopsy, and it was for inflammation, basically. It was basically, I think, the most closest to something that they could find. But the disease was undiagnosed. I still do not know what happened, but it seemed that he was basically slowing down, moving, let's say...
Alzheimer's. Parkinson's?
They did all the tests, and they did not find MS, Parkinson's, nothing was found, but basically he got infection and died because he was so weak and he could not he died in a hospital, so yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
the brain is remarkable, right? It can do so much. And I think a lot of people take for granted the brain and we focus so much on the physical body, but not how powerful the brain is. And when you get older too, a lot of people focus on muscle, but you have to
Yeah.
keep your brain intact as well because your body could go or your brain can go, and they both matter extremely for you to live
Yeah.
and to keep and enjoying your life day to day. So you studied, I guess, the brain or neurology, like mechanics.
Basically, whole body, like biological mechanics, more or less. But later, I got,
Interesting.
let's say, a job with neuromodulation devices. So that was
Mm.
basically where I got some knowledge about it and basically brought some technologies into Lithuania, Baltics, and some other countries.
Can you explain the vagus nerve? Because I think a lot of people might not even know that there's this nerve that connects everything. So, can you just give us a little rundown of the vagus nerve, how it's connected? And then I want to definitely get into how the device works and
Yeah.
how it can reduce migraines.
Yeah. So vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body. So basically the nerve which goes from the skull to the brain. So the vagus nerve has a Latin name as a wandering nerve. So vagus means wandering. So it travels throughout the body and goes to every organ. It has some, let's say, fibers in lungs, heart, kidney, spleen, digestion tract. So it has all, let's say, connecting tissues. And basically, vagus nerve is like a highway of information. So your body's impulses travel via vagus nerve, and your brain understand in what kind of state your body is in. So if you're on let's say, you have two states: fight or flight, or rest and digest. So if you're on fight or flight mode, your body is, let's say, like this: your digestion is not working, your heart rate is elevated, your breathing rate is elevated due to your body is optimized for stress reduction. So vagus nerve is sending that information to the brain, and the brain says, okay, my body is in a fight or flight mode, and we're trying to optimize everything for stress reduction. But in this day and age, your body does not differentiate with real problems or stressors, which would be, in a earlier stage, someone can attack you or you need to find some food. But with social media, let's say, scrolling, which is constantly firing your, let's say, dopamines and your body. Okay, I'm trying to compare something with myself, and you're going to, let's say, stressful mode. So stimulating vagus nerve can activate fibers which are afferent from the body to the brain, and we're activating those fibers, and we push our body into relaxation state. So we push our body from fight to flight to rest and digest mode. So how we're doing this, it's quite simple, but in some ways not so simple. So basically you have this kind of device which you are wearing. So we're creating electrical signal between electrodes from both sides, and that electrical signal travels through the skin, through the muscle level, and activates some specific vagus nerve fibers. And basically, we're trying to mimic your natural body's, let's say, signals, which are activated when you're trying to rest or digest. So we, let's say, trick your body into relaxation state. So it's vagus nerve stimulation can be done in various ways. You can do humming, singing, cold showers, meditation. There are ways how to work around this. Let's say like this. We are nothing of, let's say, extraordinary. We're not magic. We're basically giving your body's natural sensations. Let's say like this.
So, what in the body without this device, what stimulates the vagus nerve to tell the brain to calm down or to reduce pain or, de-stress or sleep?
So you need to switch to the rest and digest state. So how can you do it? Of course, meditation, breathing exercises, high intensity interval training can do this quite well. Also, you can do cold showers, hot baths. Basically, it has some, let's say, like a regulation effect. You have, let's say, cold exposure. Your body is trying to switch to other state, and you can activate your rest and digest mode. But in my opinion, the most effective one is maybe meditation. But meditation, you need to know how to meditate. Let's say like this. It's not that
Quiet the
easy.
mind, which is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's, is it hormones that is telling, like, because I always just thought it was the brain to the vagus nerve down to the organs, but it's the vagus nerve going to the brain to tell what to do.
Yeah. So basically, it's a closed loop system. So the brain, of course, calculates how your body is performing. So basically, all those signals are decided in the brain. But when we are applying electrical stimulation here, we're mimicking something what is happening in the body and what is sent to the brain to recalculate, let's say, the algorithm. And we change the algorithm that your brain tries to understand. Okay, my body is trying to relax. Let's push into rest and digest mode. So it's a, let's say, quite, I don't know, easy way, but quite
simple
interesting
but
way.
Complicated.
So, yeah.
And I mean, it is nice to have this device. It's very convenient. I could walk around with it. I can do my daily things and just wear it. But what makes the different protocols? So what makes it different from pain versus stress relief or gut? So are you telling my vagus nerve to go to the brain and then go to that specific organ?
I would like to say that this is such a specific case, but in general, it's a little bit like a brute forcing due to that when you're trying to rest and digest. Let's say some signals are going to the gut, but we have specific signals for specific conditions. Of course, for pain is more intense. We're trying to activate some fibers which are responsible, let's say, to desynchronizing some, let's say, pain patterns in the brain. So in general, let's say every program is a little bit different from frequency side due to that we're trying to activate, let's say, vagus nerve has more than 170,000 let's say fibers. So this is quite complex organ in general, but if we're considering like one, so we're trying to push into specific parts of vagus nerve and activate and let's say tackle some specific conditions. So we're developing those algorithms, and what is also important, the duration of the stimulation and the best time when you need to stimulate it, because like we have, let's say 5 programs, let's say stress, anxiety, sleep, pain management, and burnout. So let's say like this, sleep is the best, before 1 or 2 hours before going to bed. We see very good results in Oura Ring or Apple Health or let's say Whoop Strap. So, this is never-ending process due to that. You never know if you have a best protocol. So we have more data, we have a better, let's say, algorithm we can develop in the future.
So let's get into studies, because I think a lot of people I get the question a lot, does this really help you? So have you seen this on your Oura Ring, on studies saying my HRV is improved, my resting heart rate has improved, I'm getting deeper sleep? What have you researched, or for yourself, has this improved your sleep quality?
We need to differentiate studies from, let's say, consumer things. So in studies, you can do, let's say, protocols like questionnaires, PSI, GOT score, and we did all of this. Let's say stress, mild to severe stress from 2 weeks, it was improved by 40%. In 4 weeks, around 60% with our device. Also, we did the cortisol and cortisone from here.
Test?
Yeah, from
like
here.
a spit test?
No, from here, hair sample.
Oh, from hair. Okay.
Yeah, due to that, this cannot be changed or influenced like from spit. So we got also a high reduction around 60% from in hair. So this is very meaningful, and we understand that this is, let's say, very important. But for consumer, this basically cannot be replicated due to that you will not go to laboratory and take your hair sample and do tests every 2 weeks. So we understand that it works in a clinical side, but how we can, let's say, quantify in a wellness side. And this is where we come to, let's say, all the wearable devices. So we have Apple Watch, Oura Ring, Ultrahuman Ring. I'm testing device. And this is how we can provide you, let's say, the benefit where if you do not know what to measure, we can take your information from all the wearable devices and we can say, okay, we can decrease your resting heart rate during the night. Also, we can increase heart rate variability. Of course, it depends how fit you are and what kind of, let's say, state you are. Let's say the more average you are, the better results you can get due to that. There are some very well optimized people and they're saying, okay, I cannot increase HRV. And I say, you need to check your trend lines, but it might be that you're almost a professional athlete. So it's very hard to increase, let's say, from 100 to 105. It's easier to increase from 20 to 40. So these two things also, let's say, sleep scores, which are, let's say, calculated scores. But in general, if you have your own trend lines, we can increase them. So I would say the most meaningful for the customers is heart rate variability, resting heart rate decreasement, and sleep score increasement. Yeah. But we're trying to even provide our own metrics from your wearable devices like stress score, let's say, but it's ongoing process.
Yeah, I know. And for me too, I mean, sleep, I do feel affects every aspect of your health, including stress or cortisol. I really do. The better quality of sleep, the better the next day is and overall health. So I think sleep is at the core, but then yes, you're also trying to decrease stress throughout the day. And that really can impact your hormones. And I think a lot of people are dealing with stress and sleep issues, and it's causing a lot of hormone imbalances, low testosterone, like a lot of, in women too. And I'm trying to lower my stress right now to balance out my hormones because, yeah, I don't think everyone is thinking about B12 or vitamin D which is somewhat of a hormone, but all these supplements, but really not thinking how do we de-stress and balance our hormones, which is so important for your overall health. Is that something you've seen now with the device? As I don't know how long you've been using this. Have you been using this for 3 years? And has this been really helpful for you?
Yeah, so speaking about myself, so I would say, we have like a saying that, when you're running, let's say, a company and in general, you have quite high stress levels, but, in my opinion, you need to have a lot of stress in the morning to basically, what wakes you up is a high cortisol level, basically, which wakes you up. But, a lot of strenuous work in the morning, and you're later in the evening, a little bit less, let's say, stressful things. But basically, you're building like your stress muscle. So we need to understand this. Stress is needed. If we would not need it in the life, it would not be like a thing which basically it's a part of your DNA that stress is needed and you need to, let's say, have it in a small, let's say, digestible parts during the day. So I would say like this, my stress levels are average right now due to that. Of course, I do stimulate myself a lot, but I like stress. And this is basically maybe counterintuitive, but, I like to get like a high intensity training, but I know that when I'm stuck in a stress, that is the thing that I'm, let's say, most aware of. You mentioned you had a bad night's sleep or you traveled through, 8 time zones and you wake up and your body is tense, does not understand what to do. So this kind of device can help you to reduce some stressors and later you can go to sleep faster, because if you're in a stress state, you will not fall asleep. It's not anything like magic, but, it's very good tool in your toolbox. You can do other things, but, a lot of people are doing basically nothing. And that is the biggest problem. So if you know that you have a high stress, you can decide your actions, or if you did not choose it, you already decided what the outcome is.
Have you ever I've never really dealt with anxiety, or some people have panic attacks as well. And I think that's due to stress, and you can't get out of that stress. It's like you're just in that, what is it called? Flight or fight mode. And you're, so does this help with anxiety? Have you seen this or any panic attacks? I mean, I think anxiety is on the rise. It seems like everyone is now on medication for anxiety. Have you guys done any research for this?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, where we did let's say clinical studies, we noticed that even anxiety dropped significantly, around 50%. But what we were also doing with NGOs, so non-governmental organizations, with PTSD patients. So basically, it's like a way more severe form of anxiety, and we're working with ex-military personnel where we managed to reduce PTSD symptoms in quite good, let's say, numbers. But it depends from where anxiety comes and etc. Due to that, this tool can be very beneficial, but if your life is not changed in any way, shape, or form, it might be that you're reducing, but it will not solve your problem. So, of course, a lot of people cannot even differentiate stress from anxiety also due to that. They do not understand. Yeah.
And I think everyone wants one solution, and it's never one solution. This is health is a compounding of all sorts of different modalities, from, you're testing your blood and optimizing your biomarkers, and, eating whole foods and getting exercise and getting light first thing in the morning. And so it's like everyone wants that one solution or that one pill that's going to solve everything, but it's always the compounding of like a device with also knowing your blood biomarkers and doing all these things. So, everyone wants that quick fix, but in reality, if you want to be healthy, you got to do all the healthy things, not just a little simple biohack.
And a lot of people are asking us, how long do I need to use the device until I get effect? Some people notice instantly from the first time they use it. It's easier to notice some impact before going to bed, because sleeping, let's say, program is quite good on activating, and pushing you into, let's say, REM stages. But the next question is, how long do I need to use it? Is it 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and something like this? And, we usually ask the same question. How long do you need to train to get fit? It's never ending story. Due to that, you can get in shape, stop it. You will be in shape for next 1 month, 2 months, but your body is adapting without any stressors to, let's say, sedentary lifestyle. So, we're solving a problem, but we cannot solve your, let's say, life problem. So if you do not change your life, you will need to maintain our product. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you're in a, awful relationship and you're hoping the Pulsetto just fixes everything, I don't think that's the solution. So can I wear this thing all day and just, de-stress, and then put on sleep? How often do you use this thing? Are you using it in the morning, afternoon, nighttime? What is your protocol?
So my personal protocol is basically when I wake up, first things in the morning. So I brew coffee, put my basically Pulsetto device and read through emails. Due to that, I prepared some tasks in the evening, but I want to double check if my decisions were correct. So I'm trying to use it, let's say, in the morning.
Which protocol?
I use stress usually. Yeah.
Okay, stress.
Yeah, stress program.
What is the difference between burnout and stress?
So basically, burnout when you are stuck in a, let's say, stress mode. Yeah. So it's a way more intense program. Yeah, and longer duration. I would say like this: if you're stressed, so basically you can pinpoint where the stresses are coming. If you're anxious, you're feeling basically the same, but you cannot identify one thing, what is happening. You cannot say, okay, I'm anxious because of my, let's say, relationship or job. So you are a little bit in a higher state. And later, basically, you can go to burnout or after that, maybe to PTSD. So, it's always, there are some layers. And of course, sometimes it's hard to identify everything, but this is like, let's say, several things that we are trying to basically educate due to that. If you do not know what you are having, it's really hard to deal with it.
Yeah. Okay, so back to your daily
Yeah.
use of Pulsetto. So you use the stress in the morning.
Yeah. And usually I use stress after, let's say, in the midday, again,
Okay.
for 4 minutes. And it depends how tired I am. If I'm not tired, I will use sleep mode. Due to that, if I do not feel tired, it might be that my brain is running and I'm in a stress mode, let's say like this. So I try to ease out, let's say, my day with a sleeping program. But I would say I use it a little bit more than typical user, but you can use it way more than I'm using, because we have some people who are using it for pain management, because we can block some pain signals and mask some even lower back pain. Due to that, we can mask it. So we're using it for 2 hours a day. So 20 minutes, wait for 1 hour, additional 20 minutes. So there are some people who are using it quite a lot, and they providing us with some feedback. So we're constantly trying to get feedback from our customers. How are they using it? And let's say safety profile on this case. So there is implantable device with which I have worked. You can use up to 12 hours a day and 7 days per week. And later you can have, like, let's say, like a side effects from that side. So our device is, let's say, way below threshold. If you use it for 2 or 3 hours, you will need to recharge the device.
Okay. So this has been very helpful for people who have had pain, not just migraines, which I guess has been the inspiration as well. But also like some back pain, any leg pain, and people are seeing a significant reduction in pain.
So, there are two sorts of pain. So when the pain, let's say, has migraines, is a little bit easier, but when you have lower back pain, we can mask some pain signals in the neck region, but it will not solve a problem. So you need to still do rehabilitation or etc. So it will not solve, let's say, like a herniated disc, but it might help you with psychological pain and physical pain. But it will not, let's say, stop the thing that
the
it
real
started.
pain.
Yeah.
Like if you break something, you break your leg or break your arm, it's not gonna get rid of the pain.
No.
What about for cramps for women, menstrual cramps? Is that something that you've seen any reduction in?
So we are seeing quite good results, but we do not have any, let's say, data or clinical trials let's say, we didn't do anything about this. So we're gathering the information, but we know that it can help, not to get like ibuprofen or something like this. So we need more user, let's say, data where we identify that they were using it, for cramps. So it's like a classification problem, gathering more data and classifying for what kind of problem it has. Yeah. But I guess next year we would do something more in this case. Yeah.
Another one would be weight loss. If you can somehow stimulate the vagus nerve, tell the brain to lose weight and not eat, or take away hunger pains, I think Pulsetto would just blow up.
Yeah, there are some correlation with this, but it's not like a very direct action. So when like GLP-1, so it has some parts of similar effects, but in a way lesser scale. So basically, when you're stimulating the vagus nerve, it might increase the satiety during the eating, if you're eating slower. So that might be the case that your, let's say, gut and gut lining is not, let's say, expanding that much. So there is something, but this is very, let's say, specific topic, and if we will gather some information, we will need to understand what is the best duration and when to stimulate it. Due to that, it might be that 1 hour before eating, or 30 minutes, or 1 hour after eating. So might have some information, but of course it will not have any similar effects like GLP-1. Due to that, it's way more potent.
So how do you know it's working? Because it's hitting the vagus nerve, and how do you know it's telling the brain to de-stress? Did you do studies of maybe, looking at the brain, looking at certain electrical stimulants of the brain while the device was on?
We did a little bit of this, but there are some, let's say, drawbacks due to that. If you want to scan the brain with, let's say, EEG, electroencephalographic machines, when you're stimulating here and reading the brain, there are some interference signals. So you need very skilled technicians to read this kind of data. So what the best we can do is basically read the brain, stimulate it, and later read the brain once again. So it might be that you are still calming yourself up. So there is a little bit gap which we need to bring. But we can't remember the organization, but there were some universities which done, let's say, like pre-trials where they saw with our device alpha waves increasement after the stimulation. So it's a very positive thing. But in the market, we are for 4 years. So for this kind of, let's say, deep down topics, we need to be in the market for 6, 8, or 10 years. Then we will get, let's say, this kind of quantitative data and larger clinical trials.
Interesting. And also athletes will use this, correct? And for recovery. So is this something they're taking while they're, flying has such a health complications and stress and the sleep and everything. Are they using this because they're flying everywhere? Are they doing this to focus better during competitions or games? Why are most athletes using Pulsetto?
So we have, let's say, multiple ways how athletes are using it. So we did, let's say, we're doing trials with, let's say, canoeing national team in Lithuania. We're doing with NBA players. So we're using in 3 types. So one is recovery. So when you're stimulating vagus nerve, also acetylcholine is excreted in the spleen, so which helps to reduce the inflammation. So basically, for recovery, we're using to fall asleep faster due to that. After the game, you take a shower, etc., but you are hyped or ramped up, but you need to go to bed due to that. You will have a competition next day or day after tomorrow, and we're using it to wind down. And the third part, how they are using it is basically some people are overhyped before the start of a competition. So they're trying to reduce that tunnel vision because they are overhyped and we are just doing very bad decisions. So lowering the stress a little bit helps to stay in your own head and make better decisions during the competition. So let's say like this, 3 types of usage for professional athletes. And, some of them are basically quantifiable for day-to-day users due to that. Some people have stage fright and or going to some important meetings. So we see this is quite common stress case. And, from these kind of stress cases, we get a lot of, let's say, positive feedbacks from our customers. Okay, I did very good presentation, did not forget anything. Or we get like interesting cases where one mother, it helped basically reduce the road rage. And we never thought that road rage might be an issue.
Everyone needs this while they're driving.
Yeah, and she said that I am very happy on that side that my family and her children said that she does not look so angry daily while she's driving, and she has a better relationship with the children due to that she's not constantly arguing with other drivers. Yeah.
That's so funny. Everyone needs this here in Miami. So there's also a protocol for gut, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
So how does this help with the gut? I think so many people have gut issues. Everyone has gut issues. So have you seen or heard anything of it improving the gut? the gut lining?
So this is basically we're trying to gather more information, but we had some information that you can absorb more nutrients when you're reducing the inflammation in the body. So we know, as I mentioned, that it might reduce, let's say, like satiety sensation, and these things are all linked. So if you are absorbing better nutrients, your gut is, let's say, saying, okay, I'm feeling the nutrients and we can finish the eating faster. So we're building this. I would say we get some good responses, but I cannot say in a number right now how much we can benefit due to that gut does not have its own biomarker. We know from some tests, but we cannot quantify for an everyday user. So this is, let's say, like a biggest pain point that we cannot say, okay, if you have this kind of tracking device, you will get this kind of results. This is the biggest issue with, let's say, inflammation. Due to that, you can do only clinical biomarkers.
Are you doing any blood work research before and after?
Currently, no. So we did this, but we're trying to have, let's say, not only blood work, but like CGMs, like Dexcom or Abbott. So for us, this is way more applicable for day-to-day users. So we noticed there were some instances where people have like pre-diabetes conditions, and they were using our device, and they can reduce the onset of blood sugar spike, basically. But we do not know the exact algorithm. So this is, let's say, like a very ambitious topic, which we are trying to dig into deeper. Yeah.
I would just say, like, even testosterone. I mean, if a guy is reducing his stress and getting better sleep using the device, you would see an increase in the testosterone or certain hormones where you could see the difference, which I always think is a great way to know if something is benefiting. Are you measuring, you know? A lot of people are playing the guessing game and not doing any type of biomarker testing. You know, a lot of people are not checking their sleep. A lot of people don't know about resting heart rate or REM or deep sleep or anything. Is that something you've seen, like a deeper sleep? REM, a lot of people are struggling with deep sleep. Is that something that you've seen improve for yourself or for other people?
Yeah. So we have two benefits on sleeping. Or even more, I would say like this. But from Aura data, we see that onset of sleep is faster. Let's say 2 to 4 minutes, you can fall asleep faster. So if you're saying, okay, for one day, 4 minutes, but during the year, you'll get additional hours and hours throughout the year, every 4 minutes. So second part is that you have more deep and REM sleep during the night, but less awake time when you're moving in bed. So we're increasing your sleep quality, but we are not increasing sleep time.
Okay. What do you like better, the Ultra or the Aura?
I would say Aura in some cases, but Ultra has its own, let's say, interesting market. But I like actually Apple Watch the most due to that it has a second, let's say, thing for me that I can get the notifications and get biomarkers while I'm training with Aura or Ultra Human. I cannot do weightlifting, and this is like a drawback for me. It's not comfortable for me. So this is why I'm saying, okay, for me, I will get Whoop, but it's already, I have a lot of data on myself, so I want to compare how much, what kind of device can track. So for me, rings are not perfect.
I hear this from a lot of men. That's why they don't use the ring, is because of weightlifting. They say they can't use it, and then they stop using it, which I never thought of. But I guess that's why maybe people like Whoop better. Do you see a difference? Because it is weird how, you do see small differences with different devices.
Yeah.
So these devices are not perfect.
So those devices are flawed, and that is for sure. But in my opinion, you do not need to take their value for, let's say, grain of salt. Everything needs to be taken with grain of salt due to that. What is important is to check your trend lines. And if you are doing something for some amount of time, you can see the improvement. So what I'm doing myself, so basically I wake up, okay, how am I feeling? I can do like a self-evaluation test. Okay, I check my sleep score, but what I am also doing, so we have in our application like CNS tap test, so central nervous system tapping test. So you can do like a dexterity test, how from your brain to fingertips the signal is traveling. So in the morning I tap for 10 seconds with one side, other side, and I see if my nervous system is basically strained or not. So I cross-check this one. Also, sometimes I do even cross-checking a grip test. I have a device to check and checking. Can I do, let's say, weight training or not? If my results are all over the place from my trend lines, I say, okay, I'm just doing a light work or, I don't know, jogging, stretching, flexibility, or something like this. So I do not trust any source with, let's say, making my decisions.
Interesting. That's a good one. Yeah, I know. And I think a lot of us need to listen to our bodies, especially women, because we're, have to listen to our cycles and listen to our bodies instead of just push, 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 because we don't want to stress our bodies out. We want it to, do what we need. Sometimes go hard because you have the energy, you've had a good night's sleep, push hard that day. And other days your body's telling you, hey, you might have a cold or you might not have slept so much. So you just need to like relax more during that day. So I think it's always, we intuitively know, but with society, it's always go, 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 push, push, push.
Let's say like a topic which is, let's say, very dear to my heart. Due to that, I have, I don't know, data on myself for 8 years or something like this. So I almost with 80, 90% can say when I'm catching a cold. So I see some spikes in my resting heart rate 5 to 3 days before I'm getting sick. So my body is trying to even fight it. So I know my own patterns, but also I found my own patterns from my, let's say, movement. Let's say like in Apple Health, like you have a mobility, let's say, section where it tries to evaluate how synchronous are your walking steps, your strides, and etc. So I even calculated when I can get a back injury, and with quite high probability I tested, so I got a back injury. So now I know how to even measure myself in that case.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know. I think you're a very rare case where people are testing all this. And most people have no clue, or they get overwhelmed with all this as well, because I do think this can be time consuming. This can be a lot on people that are like, just let me live, let me eat my cake or something, just, but I'm like, I don't know. I think once you get things going and you realize how everything is impacting your health, you realize how good you can feel, and doing all these modalities can really benefit you on your day to day and for your overall health span. So that's why, even hormones are such a big thing, where it's like if your testosterone is low, you're not going to be able to build muscle. You're not going to be motivated. You're not going to be really, have the energy and motivation to do the things you might want to do. So I think people always have to realize you're giving up something with the bad habits. So
this is completely true. And even drinking, let's say, small wine glass before going to bed, it has a lot of damage on your sleeping patterns. And, I read somewhere that, Apple, Whoop, and Aura did the biggest anti-alcohol campaign. Due to that, we showed you your sleeping scores. And when you see the score, you know what is basically lowering it. And, the US consumption is one of the lowest in whole registered history right now.
It keeps you accountable. And even food, if you eat food late at night, it truly impacts your quality of sleep. I think a lot of people will snack at night and not realize how much it's impacting your sleep. the rest and digest is very important for sleep quality.
Yeah. So my personal thing is that I like very, let's say, hot food. But when I eat it, let's say in the first part of the day, it's okay. When I eat it, I don't know, at 4 p.m., it's already affecting my sleep. If I want something, I need to eat it for dinner, not for dinner, for business lunch. Yeah.
Interesting. So, what is the future of Pulsetto? Where are you guys going from here? Are we going to see menstrual cramps and weight loss on the next on the app soon?
I would like to say yes, but the data will show us. It's like this. We are trying to show everything what we're doing. So you for sure will see, let's say, like recommendations even. What we're trying to do right now. So basically, creating like a closed loop system. So if you are having your trackable device, and we might suggest you that, okay, your stress levels right now is higher, use this kind of, let's say, stimulation. So we're trying to predict what is happening to your body. So this is basically right now in our works, but this for sure will be like one key thing that we want to give to our customers: prediction and let's say reaction, what is happening in your body. So this is key things.
Interesting. So I'm wearing my Oura ring. Soon it will be connected, and then it'd be like, you have high stress right now. Use the device to de-stress.
For 4 minutes, let's say like this. Use for 4 minutes, and it should lower your stress. So use anxiety, or I don't know. You maybe with sleep it will not work like this, but with stress or anxiety, we're trying to build like this, and maybe to give some scoring how fast you can rebound after stress. So basically, high stress levels, and let's say maybe we'll give you some patterns without Pulsetto or with Pulsetto, how fast you're, let's say, adapting to it. It might be that you're feeling on your body stress for a couple of hours, with Pulsetto 1 hour or 30 minutes, and you can be more productive. Due to that, some people cannot work under stress, so it's also quite interesting thing which we need to tackle.
That's amazing. Yeah, I would love that. I think that's where, I'm hoping with AI and the future of wearables and tech and everything, where we can really just have all the biomarkers for our blood testing, our stool, or, all this, and say, hey, you need to add more fiber. You need to add this supplement or eat more of this food because your iron is getting low or your stress levels are high. And so that's where I think the future of these devices and the future of AI is going, where we can just measure everything and be told what to do.
Yeah, so it's a lot of companies are trying to do it like this, and I'm somehow became like an Apple advocate in some cases. Do that. They gave us a lot of data. The Apple Watch, even Apple earbuds are very good at what they are doing. So a lot of people do not know that they can use Apple AirPods to do like hearing test at home, and you can check if you have hearing loss or not. And if you have hearing loss, you can use it like over-the-counter hearing aid. So even Apple understands that Apple Health is core value to them. So, we are doing this. We're trying to do with stress, with sleep, with anxiety. And, the more data, the more cross-reference you can do, the better, algorithms will get.
Yeah, I'm excited because I think right now, mostly everyone's playing the guessing game. And then us biohackers, people in the health, doctors, functional medicine are using the wearables, but we're still not there to really, understand on a daily basis what our body needs. We're figuring that out with blood work and doing these things month to month. But if we can just say, hey, this is what your diet needs. You need more fat. You need more protein. It's like, wow, game changer,
This is, let's say, thing that a lot of doing investigation due to that is like without Pulsetto is part of my, let's say, leisure time. So AI, data analytics, and I'm trying to understand, what kind of insights people are getting. So I know that a lot of things are happening in the background, so people can predict panic attacks from wearable data, but this cannot be basically provided to common users. Due to that, it becomes like a medical device. Due to that, panic attacks is severe conditions.
Yeah.
But if we released it, it would have way better, let's say, outcome for people who have panic attacks. But we cannot release on the Apple Store due to the regulation. So it's a lot of things are done already, but approval takes 3 years, 5 years, and that is also a problem.
Liability.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was so great. I think, a lot of people get confused of how these things work and, the studies and there's so much out there. So a lot of people question or have the question. So this is really great to kind of break it down and understand how Pulsetto works and why people are using it. So, thank you so much for taking the time of your day. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and it was a pleasure. Yeah.